Hello everyone and welcome to Katharine's Creatures. This is episode 58 and this is a series where I get to touch base and talk a little bit about various mythological beast beings and the like pulled from lore worldwide. And I always like to preface by saying that I'm not a linguist, so there is always a chance that I may mispronounce something, and I always want to let people know up front that is the case. Now, with that said, I'm actually surprised I haven't done this one before. For whatever reason, I thought I had. I'm actually going to be talking a little bit about the mares of Diomedes, also known as the Thracian mares or the mares of Thrace. And these horses are pulled from Greek mythology. They're an entire herd comprised of all female, so mares. And it's kind of interesting to me how Greek myth, there's so many different species that are either all of one sex or all of another. Interesting. So this is one of those all-female species right here. And this particular horse herd was known for a particular tendency. They ate the flesh of man. So they were a carnivorous herd of horses. And it was said that because they ate the flesh of man, it drove them mad. So they were wild and uncontrollable and, again, very dangerous. Certain lore will also add on to that they could breathe fire, but that's not necessarily accepted across the board. So regardless of fact, carnivorous horses coming at you as a giant herd, a little terrifying. Their owner in myth was Diomedes of Thrace, Thrace being the area where they lived, and he kind of kept them under lock and key, literally. They were chained to a bronze manger with iron chains so they wouldn't escape and wreak havoc across his kingdom. So they were watched regularly, and in order to continue to feed them, and the occasional stranger or even a guest would disappear. Interesting. So there were actually 4 horses in the original herd. Their names, if I can pronounce them correctly, are Podargos, Lampon, Xanthos, and Dienos. And they respectfully translate to meaning the swift, the shining, the yellow, and the terrible. So those are your 4 horses that comprise the mares of Diomedes. And in lore, they were known best for their association with the hero Heracles and his 12 labors, this being one of the labors where he had to kind of capture and bind these horses, and that's kind of where the lore varies tremendously. Regardless of the fact, Hercules succeeds this labor, huzzah. But depending on the story, depends on how he does this. One time he breaks the chains and drives the horses to sea, and while they're in the water and kind of off land, he asked this young boy who was his companion at the time, and the boy's name is Abydernus? I cannot remember if that's the way you pronounce it, but there was a young boy who was set to watch the horses as Hercules goes off and continues what he needs to do. Problem being is that the boy gets eaten. So when Hercules comes back, he's in a rage and angry that he actually kills Diomedes and feeds him to his mares. Another story is that Hercules is actually a guest by Diomedes, and they're on an island, and he does not trust Diomedes with not feeding him to the horses. So in the middle of the night, he wakes up, breaks the iron bindings of the horses, and herds them kind of down this, essentially the chute. Meanwhile, while the horses are kind of trapped temporarily, he floods the entire area along with the horses. Also tacking onto that, essentially, here's the thing. All the versions of the Diomedes mares, Hercules breaks them free at some point and feeds their owner to them. And again, there are, like I said, all these different variations of what exactly happens. But the point being is, as soon as the mares are fed, their prior owner, they all calm down. And again, lore changes, where sometimes this means the horses' mouths were bound up and Hercules gifts them to another. Other times he allows the horses to roam free because they are so docile now, they are just like any other horse. But regardless of the fact, the four mares were a terrifying presence and were referenced a lot in various myths about, well, Greek myth. And fun fact of history, the historical character, Alexander the Great, claimed that his own horse, oh my goodness, let me see if I can pronounce his name, Alexander the Great's horse, Bucephalus, was a descendant of the Thracian mares. He truly claimed this, be it that he believed it or he wanted just everybody else to believe it, to just express how mighty he was, that he had this horse that was descended from these man-eating mares. So that's a fun fact. If you have any question about this or anything else, post them in the comments below or reach out to me on any of my social media. And until next time, Skål.